The top 5 meta Yu-Gi-Oh decks this format. Big dogs, we already know who numero uno and numero dos is, but there are actually some other strategies that can go toe-to-toe with the big dogs. By big dogs, I mean, they're big dogs too, but they're little dogs compared to you, big dog. Yeah. In case you guys didn't know who I am, hi, I'm your professor, TheCaliEffect. And today, students, we have a no-nonsense policy. If you don't know what the best decks are, you're gonna stay a Slifer slacker. Today, not only will I be telling you what are the top 5 decks that you could be playing right now, I'm also gonna give you a detailed explanation why. The first 2 won't surprise you. The others, oh boy. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Now, we already know what the 2 best decks in the game are. Ryzeal being the strongest XC deck potentially of all time. It's better than Fire Fist. It's better than Trap Tricks. It's more than likely better than Zodiac, which is insane. And it's mainly because its Zodiac Trident is Ryzeal Detonator. This behemoth of a card not only boasts a 3000 attack body, but can destroy any card on the field anytime a card effect is activated, as opposed to Trident's wimpy once per turn. Now that I think about it, why is Trident banned when you got Detonator on the field? The once go-to Yu-Gi-Oh card outs, Book of Eclipse, are no longer useful because through Ryzeal's combo, it attaches a monster named Eclipse Twins, which allows you to summon the card right back. This means that a particular Ryzeal player can have up to 5 destructions on one Yu-Gi-Oh card that can be Exceed summoned with any 2 Ryzeal monsters. It's genuinely what makes the deck a slaughterhouse, but there's so much more. Because Ryzeal has laughable restrictions, players have been mixing it with other strategies. Mitsurugi allows you to be able to destroy your opponent's monsters on their side of the field during your turn and forces them to discard cards to activate effects. And Fiendsmith is Fiendsmith, one of the most ridiculous engines up to date. Without committing any type of resources, you can have a monster that can negate multiple cards on the field with Fiendsmith Desiree, or you can have a monster that can negate special summons. Ryzeal just might be the strongest deck of all time when it comes to actual playable Yu-Gi-Oh! But Malice really isn't that far behind. Most of the time, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players hate Dimension Shifter, but when your deck is based off of banishing themselves and bringing back, well, you can cripple half of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategies in the game just by playing Dimension Shifter-like decks. What Malice does best reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. Waits until you enjoy what you're doing, then calls you up to ruin your day. Malice just so happens to be that other annoying 1-card combo Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And because the required cards to make a Malice deck is so small, a lot of players have been using Bystials not only to stop your light and dark decks, but also to propel their strategy further. Abeyu-Aku, the Lightless Shadow, allows them to be able to re-special summon monsters like Nightmare Griffin into the main monster zone, but overall, the biggest problem with this deck is that it also doesn't have any restrictions. Brother man, it literally says you can only Link summon. Do you know how stupid Link's monsters are? Link monsters are literally what Synchro monsters should be. Those are easily the top 2 decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm gonna go ahead and count it as 1 because most people already know. The next strongest decks in the entire game may shock you because I think that there's an up-and-coming contender that has already proven its worth. Odeon just might be the strongest strategy in the game coming out of Maze of the Masters. And no, I'm not coping. But if there's a rule that says I cannot play trap cards, Mr. Willer, I won't. I think Odeon has the biggest potential. One is because when strategies like Bystial and Fiendsmith do get hit to oblivion, because they will, please, Odeon will still thrive. This is a trap monster based Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, which gets most of its strengths through the Apophis trap cards. Apophis the Serpent allows you to be able to set any Apophis trap card to your side of the field and activate it that turn, and Apophis the Swamp Deity allows you to be able to negate cards up to the number of trap monsters. Notice I said cards. It could stop a well-timed Harpy's Feather Duster, or it can stop a myriad of cards like Ryzeal Detonator and that pesky field spell that they have. And one of the deck's biggest strengths is Anguish of Statue Pattern. You really gotta watch out for this card, because while the Apophis monsters are trap effects, Anguish of the Statue Pattern activates as a monster to be able to destroy a card every single time a trap monster is summoned. Now, I don't know about you, but I did just talk about how a tier 1 Yu-Gi-Oh strategy was able to destroy 4 to 5 monsters on the field just with one card. And this Apophis thing looking awfully similar. And in case you were wondering what an Odeon deck looks like, I just so happen to have a deck profile that I put on my channel that you should go ahead and check out. Apophis is the newcomer, but sometimes you need a strategy that's old and gold and still does the job. And that's why I think that Mermail is a top 5 meta deck this format. Mermail has not only topped, but it's done well in every single format since the new supporters came around. And ever since Supreme Darkness giving the new Persidra and Mermail Abyss trait, the deck has been on a roll. Mermail is one of the very few Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that is comfortable when going second, with cards like Molchummy Perulia being an amazing card in this deck because at the very worst case, it's a water discard, Atlantean Heavy Infantry being a way to be able to destroy your opponent's face-up cards on the field, all the way to this deck being able to play Dominus Impulse fairly easy. It's not hard for this deck to be able to thrive when going second. But if it happens to go first, one of the biggest things about this deck is that it can easily hand loop you. And big dog, it really don't care about any of those hand traps you're playing. Deep Sea Minstrel can pretty much take care of all of that. This deck can make you feel incredibly bad for not playing the correct cards, which is good in Yu-Gi-Oh! All I'm saying is that the deck has unfair win conditions going first and the ability to be able to play going second. I think it also goes to show that Abyss Dweller is one of the strongest cards in the game, and Mermail still statistically gets tops after tops. It does not care. With so many ways to continuously play even after being disrupted, Mermail is easily one of the strongest decks in the entire game. And speaking of oldies but goldies, this particular strategy could be considered one of the first archetypes in the game. Blue Eyes is resurrected from 2016 to being one of the best decks. One of the biggest points for Blue Eyes White Dragon is its old synchro monster, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. This card actually is amazing against graveyard reliant cards, being able to negate Fiendsmith cards like Engraver's Effect to resummon or Fabled Lori, but also being able to cycle it into the new Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, which is reminiscent to cards that are on the ban list today. You see, one thing that Yu-Gi-Oh players always look for is the next better on the floor, a card that can negate the activation of monster effects on the field, and Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon is the closest we're getting into that into modern Yu-Gi-Oh right now. It also is a 3,500 attack, 4,000 defense choky monster that can resummon light dragon monsters to your side of the field. Unfortunately, that's not the only thing that Blue Eyes has up its sleeve. I mean, apart from summoning the ultimate engine of destruction, Blue Eyes White Dragon, this is a deck that can boast upwards to 18 hand traps. A lot of them are the pretty standard, but if your deck can play the Dominus cards, you're probably in a really good spot. The Primite engine also allows Blue Eyes to pretty much play on forever, giving it an infinite resource of cards to be able to reset when the games get on long. Last is a strategy that doesn't get enough credit. You could say it's my copium take, and if you have a particular deck that you think is a top 5 meta deck, then go ahead and let me know. Statistically, Memento is one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Since Memento was snubbed from YCS, it has been going through a regional streak tear. It's a fairly powerful Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that can make hand traps look really bad, and it has a few good things against Ryzeal. Because of the Goblin Breaker cards, Grand Entrance, and Doug Charger, you can easily detach materials from Ryzeal Detonator before they can get into effect. And the best part about Memento is that it's pretty versatile, from being pure to incorporating the Goblin Bikers like I said, to Fiendsmiths, and pretty much anything in between. Memento is a pretty powerful Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that actually has the statistics to be able to back it up. If not a high-end rogue Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, then one of the best in the game. But I don't know, maybe it is just a rogue Yu-Gi-Oh strategy and I'm tripping. Again, technically that is the 6th of top 5 meta decks this format, so you could consider it rogue, which probably means I should make a rogue tier list to follow, but let me know what you guys think about that. Also, class, you're dismissed from this video, but I better not catch you slacking in the hallways. Go ahead and check out these videos so I could catch you on the next one.